Once upon a time that, no, this is no fairy tale. On a bright day in the middle of the night, no, certainly matched the contradictory nature of the play, but still not quite right. Well, let us just start in a direct manner, shall we? Good evening and welcome to Refashion. Refashion is a fiction and as such can be considered a historical record. Refashion, R-E, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, means as a matter of referring to, about, concerning. Let us then consider what refashion is about. Our play was adopted from fashion, penned by actress and playwright Anna Cora Mowatt. It premiered in New York City in 1845. Drawing from European comedy of manners, this play concerns the family of Mr. Anthony Tiffany, a New York City textile merchant, his fashionable wife, Mrs. Elizabeth Tiffany, and their adopted daughter, Serafina. Now, these two women, they serve as satiric portraits for the mid-19th century New York affinity for French customs, or shall I say French costumes, as a means of masking your true customs. See, Mrs. Tiffany believes that if it is French, it is fashionable, and if it is fashionable, it is for Mrs. Tiffany. American made? What is that? Hence her French lady's maid, Millinette, who is a direct import from Paris. The Tiffany's adopted daughter, Serafina, has several suitors to whom you will be introduced. And then there is Mrs. Tiffany's sister, Prudence, who can be found around the house listening and reporting on all that is happening. For a few years now, Gertrude, a young music tutor and confidant to Serafina, has been living with the Tiffanys. She is from the less fashionable Geneva in upstate New York. There are a host of problematic script elements we chose to refashion, including whitewashing, bigotry, and heteronormative gender norms. There is one element we removed from the play, and that is the butler Zeke. Consistent with the theatrical conventions of the mid-19th century American theater, Anna Cora Mowatt wrote the part to be played by a white man in blackface. Zeke's function in Mowatt's play was primarily to demean and insult all of those of African descent. It's been 175 years since the play first premiered in America, yet the stereotypes associated with such blackface roles still linger. Now, rather than erase these facts, we want to recognize these truths. Recognize that refashion is the latest fashion. Recognize the past without erasing those facts. Revoke the script, rework the script to revoke that racist role. Repass, reposition the past. And our play is set in 1860. Another moment of deep divide when the United States was on the cusp of civil war. Now, we are here in part to re-examine the traditional ways of retelling history. Refashion, rework, rework, revoke, and refashion. R-E, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, is a prefix that also means back, as in retell, again, as in recall. Now, is history a truthful narrative or a fictional story? How is history refashioned and by whom? Oh, consider how the casting plays a role in how we retell the story. See, historical record tells us that the original cast of Mowatt's Fashion was a group of all-white, cisgendered, able-bodied actors, the kind of casting we could typically recall in commercial theater and film today. Now, if this cast was premiered in 1845 and we had an unlimited budget, this is what they would look like. Now, rather than repeat these traditional roles of retelling history, we took this approach. In this often neglected play of our American past, our cast will reflect our present. African-American scholar Anna Julia Cooper reminds us in A Voice from the South, and I quote, in 1833, one solitary college in America decided to admit women within its sacred precincts. Gradually, other colleges fell into line. As individuals, we are consistently and inevitably, whether we are conscious of it or not, giving our real selves into our several little words, our own true ray to the flood of starlight, quite independently of our masquerading in our professions. And so, in the world of thought, the influence of thinking women far transcends her feeble declamation and may seem at times even opposed to it. End quote. This is indeed one of those times. Let us visit the Tiffany's household for that search of that true ray and starlight, transcendence in the possibilities of reclamation. Who am I to revise this historical record? Why, I am a raconteur who likes to take the apple from the bottom of the cart. I am one of the defiant few who dare to attain an education. I am R.E., as in ready right now to turn over a new leaf for all of you who dare to reconsider, then dare to be reinformed, and dare to rebuild, and dare to coexist. I am Professor Reddy Turner. The rebuilding begins in the Tiffany's drawing room.
Oh, is everything in order to receive Serafina's call, Miss Milanette? Oh, very elegant indeed. There's an elegant look about this furniture and air of le mode and lutte bourgeoisie. Perfectly bewitching, is it not so, Milanette?
Oui, madame.
But where is Miss Serafina? It is 12 o'clock and our visitors will be pouring in and she has not made her appearance. Oh, but I hear nothing is more fashionable than to keep people waiting. None but vulgar persons pay any attention to punctuality. Is it not so, Milanette?
But persons always do like to make little persons wait.
This mode of receiving visitors upon one specified day of the week is the most convenient custom. It keeps the trouble of having to keep the house continually in order and of always being dressed. I flatter myself that I was the first to introduce it amongst the New York elite. You are sure this is strictly a Parisian mode, Milanette?
Oui, madame, entirely le mode de Paris.
Oh, this girl is worth her weight in gold. Milanette, how do you say armchair in French?
Fauteuil.
Fauteuil. Oh, so bourgeoisie. There is something about our American words that are decidedly vulgaire. Fauteuil. How refined.
Madame does have one charmant pronunciation.
Do you think so, Milanette? Well, I believe I have, but a woman of refinement and of fashion can always accommodate herself to everything foreign. The language lessons with Monsieur Comtois has made me quite at home in the court language of Europe.
I wonder if any of the fine folks have come yet. Not a soul. I knew they hadn't. There's Betsy all alone, Sister Betsy.
Sister Prudence, how many times have I desired that you call me Elizabeth? Betsy is the height of vulgarity.
Betsy. Oh, why, her name is as American as apple pie. I'm sure Mrs. Tiffany would probably prefer creme brulee.
Oh, I forgot. Dear me, how spruce we do look here, to be sure now, Betsy. Elizabeth, I mean. Who would have thought when you and I were sitting behind that little mahogany-colored counter in Canal Street, making up flashy hats and caps that we would have...
Prudence, what do you mean? Milanette, leave the room.
Oui, madame.
But I always predicted it. I always said you were destined to rise above your station.
Prudence, haven't I told you that I no longer desire
Betsy, it was I that told you. When we used to buy our silks and ribbons from Mr. Anthony Tiffany, Talkin' Tony, we used to call him, and you always put on the finest bonnet in our shop to go to his, and you stayed so long, smiling and chattering. I always told you that something would grow out of it.
Annette, send Seraphina here instantly. Leave the room.
Oui, madame. So, this American lady of fashion was an hat maker. Very interesting.
Prudence, never let me hear you speak on this subject again. Forget what we have been and embrace what we can be.
No matter how we try to reform, identity is always visible.
Oh, Seraphina, my dear, how bewitchingly you look. Does Milanette say that headdress is strictly Parisian?
Oh yes, Mama, all the rage. They call it a lady's tarpaulin, and it is the exact pattern of the one worn by Princess Clementina at the last court ball.
Now, Seraphina, my dear, don't be too particular with gentlemen not eligible. There is Count Jalimetri, decidedly the most fashionable bachelor in town. So European, so much accustomed with the first nobility that he can hardly tolerate the vulgarity of Americans in general. You may devote yourself unto him.
Betsy, there's a young man walking up to the front door. He looks positively bookish.
That is the arrival of Mr. T. Tennyson Twinkle, a young poet and one of the first suitors to call upon Seraphina. Let us return to the process of reconsideration.
Seraphina! The sun itself grows dim unless you aid his light and shine on him.
Oh, Mr. Twinkle, there's no such thing as answering you.
Mr. Twinkle, is that you? I was perfectly enchanté at the very perusal of your very distingué verses.
Well, I am overwhelmed, madam. Forgive me. Now, really, they do look prettily, and they read tolerably. Quite tolerably. Very tolerably. Particularly the first verse. Seraphina Tiffany.
Oh, Mr. Twinkle.
Around my heart, thou weavest a spell.
Touching, really, Mr. Twinkle. It's quite a qui bon cœur.
Around my heart, thou weavest a spell.
Tell you, Mr. Twinkle, I heard the other day that poets were the aristocrats of literature. That's one reason I do like them because I don't all aristocracy.
Oh, madam, how flattering. Now pray, lend me your ears. Around my heart, thou weavest a spell.
That is such a sweet commencement, Mr. Twinkle.
Around my heart,
That
thou
is
weavest...
lovely, Mr. Twinkle.
Beautiful, but excuse me one moment while I say a word to Seraphina. Don't be too affable, my dear. Poets are very ornamental appendages to the drawing room, but they're always as poor as their very own verses. They do not make eligible husbands.
No interruptions! My dear madam, unless you pay the utmost attention, you cannot catch the ideas. Are you ready? Well, now you shall hear it to the end. Around my heart, thou weavest a spell.
Exquisite,
Magic I can...
Mr. Twinkle, exquisite.
Miss Seraphina, your smile of approval transports me to the summit of Olympus.
Then I shall frown, for I would not send you so far away.
Enchantress. Okay, now pay attention, all. Around my heart, thou weavest a spell. With magic I can...
I mean, now there's a dashing sort of gent. He looks like a duke or a count or some such refined type.
Ah, when Count Jellamatre comes to call, the Tiffany's household reverberates with excitement.
Around my heart thou weavest a spell whose magic I can never tell.
Gracious Count Jellamatre! Oh, Seraphina, my dear, are you all in order? Oh, no, dear me, your dress is so tumbled. You must arrange it at once. Oh,
This is terrible.
Fina, my dear, remember what I told you about the Count? He is a man of the highest. Good gracious. Oh, I am so flurried and nothing is more ungenteel than adaptation. Oh, what would the Count think? Oh, Mr. Twinkle, pray, stand out of the way. Oh, Count, this unexpected honor, Count. We are
Count, this inexpressible pleasure.
Don't mention it, madame. Miss Seraphina, you're most devoted.
Count, may I take the liberty to introduce you? Oh, good gracious, Count. I was about to remark that we never introduce in America. All our fashions are French.
Excuse me, madam. Our fashions have grown antediluvian before you Americans discover their existence. You are lamentably behind the age. Lamentably. Upon honor, a gentleman of refinement finds great difficulty in existing in this provincial atmosphere.
How dreadful, Count. I am very much concerned. If there's anything which I can do to make your stay here,
Count, to render your situation less deplorable.
I find but one redeeming charm in America. The superlative loveliness of the feminine portion of creation and the wealth of their obliging papas.
La flattery, Count. I am afraid you will turn the head of my simple girl here. She is a perfect child of nature, Count.
Yes, though you American women are quite charming, yet, damn, there's a bit of native rust to rub off.
Rust? Good gracious, Count. Where do you find any rust?
How very unsophisticated. Bewitching, almost.
Count, I am so much ashamed. Pray, excuse me. Although a lady of large fortune and one, Count, who can boast of the highest connections, I blush to confess that I've never traveled well. You, Count, I am sure are at home in all the courts of Europe.
Courts? Oh, yes, I believe I am pretty well known in some of the courts of Europe. In a word, madam, I had seen enough of civilized life, wanted to refresh myself by a sight of barbarous countries and customs, had my choice.
How complimentary to our country, Count. I have no doubt you speak every conceivable language. You speak English like a native.
What? Oh, yes, I believe I am something of an Englishman. Past 1 year and 8 months with Wellington, 6 months with Lord Rom, 2.5 with Count Bay, all the more friend, Madam, I.
Remember what we say, Seraphina.
Forget what we have been, embrace what we can be. Oh, I am so wild to see Count d'Orsay.
A mere milliner, or how would you say a hat maker? Very little refinement out of Paris. Why, would you believe it, madam? At the very last supper given by Lord knows who, would you believe it, madam? There was an individual present who wore a black cravat and took soup twice.
Oh, how shocking! The sight of him would have spoiled my appetite. Think what a great man he must be, my dear, to despise lords and counts in that way. I must leave them together. Mr. Twinkle, your arm. I have some imported exotic flowers I want to show you. Prudence, Gertrude, join me in the conservatory.
Well, I'd fly at your command. I wish all her exotics were blooming in their native soil.
America then has no charms for you, Count.
Excuse me. Some exceptions. I find you, for instance, particularly charming. Can't say I admire your country. If you had ever breathed the exhilarating air of Paris, ate creams at Tortoni's, dined at the Café Royale, or in London, driven a couple of lords and a duchess through Hyde Park every day, you would find America insupportable.
Not while there was a count in it.
Oh my, who is that farmer type man walking up to the front door?
Oh, this one is lamentably behind the age for sure. Lamentably. Decidedly not a suitor, but a friend to Mr. Anthony Tiffany. Mr. Adam Truman happens to choose now to revisit an old friend.
One of Mr. Tiffany's vulgar acquaintances. Oh, I shall die with shame. Prudence, inform him that I am not at home. Oh, my nurse is so sad. I am ready to see.
At home, I'll not be left waiting. This is important. Where's this woman that's not at home in her own house? May I be shot. I shouldn't think she'd ever feel at home in such a showbox as this.
Plebeian-looking old farmer. Sir, how dare you intrude yourself into my parlor? Do you know who I am, sir? You are in the presence of Mrs. Tiffany, sir.
Antony's wife, eh? Well, now I might have guessed that, for I see you make it a point to wear half your husband's shop upon your back. Well, no matter, that's being a good helpmate, for he carried the whole of it once in a pack upon his own shoulders. Now you bear a share.
How dare you, you eau de chez, low, ignorant fool. You're talking of somebody else. What will the Count think?
I thought folks had better manners in the city. This is a civil welcome for your husband's old friend, and after my coming all the way from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, how shall I get rid of him?
I hope that is not Gertrude in that ornate headwear.
Sir, I have you know that. Seraphina, my child, walk with the gentleman into the conservatory. Count Jolimetre, pray, make due allowance for the errors of this rustic. Count, I assure you that he is not usually here.
She calls that critter with a shoe brush over his mouth a count? To look at him, I would have thought he was a tailor's walking advertisement.
Where did you say you belong, my friend? Dug out of the ruins of Pompeii, eh?
I belong to a land in which I rejoice to find that you are a foreigner.
Barbarian. He doesn't understand the honor I'm doing his country. Pray, madam, is it one of the aboriginal inhabitants of the soil? To what tribe of Indians does he belong? Does he carry a tomahawk?
Something quite as useful, do you see that?
Oh, dear, I shall faint. Melinette, bring me my other fan.
Oui, madame.
Sir, I am shocked at your plebeian conduct. This is a gentleman of the highest. Melinette, what is the matter?
Nothing. Nothing. Only nothing at all.
Why, did you never see a live count before? Don't be afraid. He's tame. I dare say your mistress there leads him about by the ears.
This is too much. Melinette, send for Mr. Tiffany instantly.
My old friend. Where is he? Take me to him. I long for one more hearty shake of the hand.
Yes, that's a counting house, monsieur.
Shake of the fist, you mean? If I don't make him shake his in your face, you low eau de chez. Never mind, we'll see. Count, honor me by joining my daughter in the conservatory. I will return immediately.
What a Jezebel! These women always play the very devil with the man, but yet I don't believe such a damaged bale of goods as that has smothered the heart of little Antony.
This way, sir. S'il vous plaît.
S'il vous plaît. We'll see what fashion has done for him.
Mr. Tiffany and Mrs. Tiffany and Seraphina, they only have eyes for fashion. And Count Jalamatre, he reeks of fashion. But this true man speaks his mind without hesitation. Unwelcoming or refreshing, we shall see. We recede to Mr. Tiffany's counting house ahead of Mr. Truman, and there's Mr. Tiffany fretting over a pile of papers. His confidential clerk, Snobson, rejoins him.
Mr. Tiffany, a word with you, if you please, sir.
Speak on, Mr. Snobson, I attend.
What I have to say, sir, is a matter of the first importance to the credit of the concern. The credit of the concern, Mr. Tiffany.
Proceed, Mr. Snobson.
Sir, you've a handsome house, a fine carriage, servants, everything first rate.
Well, sir.
My salary, Mr. Tiffany.
It has been raised 3 times within the last year.
And still it is insufficient for the necessities of an honest man. Mark me, an honest man, Mr. Tiffany?
Honest. What a weapon he has made of that word. Enough, enough. Another 100 shall be added. Does that content you?
There is one other subject which I have before mentioned. Your adopted daughter, Seraphina. What's stopping you from letting the folks at home know at once that I am to be the groom?
Villain! And must the only seal upon this scoundrel's lips be placed there by the hand of my daughter? Well, sir, it shall be as you desire.
And Mrs. Tiffany shall be informed of your resolution?
Yes.
Well, enough said. That's the ticket. The credit of the concern is safe, sir.
Oh, how low I have bowed to this insolent rascal. To rise himself, he mounts on my shoulders, and unless I can shake him off, he will crush me.
Here I am, Anthony. I told you I'd pay you a visit in your money-making quarters, but it looks as dismal in here as a cell in the state's prison.
Oh, state prison? Oh, you are facetious.
For the life of me, I can't see anything so amusing in that. I should think the state's prison repugnant lodgings, and you laugh, man, as if you fancied yourself there already. What on earth is the meaning of this ill-sounding laugh? This fashion worship has made heathens and hypocrites of you all. Everything is something else from what it seems to be. I have lived in your house only 3 days, and I have heard more lies than were ever invented during a presidential election.
We were exceedingly happy to welcome you as our guest, sir.
You? Happy? Antony, your furrowed brow tells quite another story. It's been many a long day since you were happy at anything. You look as if you melted down your flesh into dollars and mortgaged your soul in the bargain. See me, man, 52 last August, strong as a hickory and every whit as sound.
Yes, I take the greatest pleasure in remarking at your superiority, sir.
No man takes pleasure in remarking in the superiority of another. Why the deuce can't you speak the truth, man? But it's not the fashion, I suppose. I have not seen one frank, open face since... Well, there's that girl, Gertrude, who is trying to teach her daughter music. But Gertrude was bred in the country.
Oh, yes, a good girl, Gertrude. My wife and daughter find her very useful.
Useful? I must say you have a queer notion of use, but come, cheer up, man. I hear you're making money on the true American high-pressure system. All sound, I hope. Nothing rotten at the core.
Oh, sound. Quite sound.
Well, that's pleasant, though I must say you don't look very pleasant about it.
Well, my dear friend, although I am solvent, I may say perfectly solvent, yet the fact is, you could be of some assistance to me.
That's the fact, is it? Well, I'm glad we've landed upon one fact at last. Well, what on earth? Another one of those ill-sounding city laughs.
My confidential clerk.
Confidential. Come, let us go somewhere where this critter can't give us the benefit of his opinion.
The old prig has got the coin, or Tiff would never be so civil. Tiff will work every shiner into the concern, all the better for me. Now I'll go and visit Serafina. The old woman didn't try to knock me down with any of her French lingo. 6 months from today, if I'm not as fashionable as Mrs. Tiffany herself, then I'm not the trump I thought I was. Bless me. 11 o'clock already, and I haven't had my julep. Snapson, I'm ashamed of you.
This Snobson. He holds a particular power and information over Mr. Tiffany. Reconnaissance may be necessary. Well then. Let's return to the Tiffany's residence, where the flowers are not the only blooms blossoming, as Gertrude waters. Colonel Howard interest grows.
Afraid you lead a sad life here, Miss Gertrude.
What? Amongst the flowers?
No, amongst the thistles in which Miss Tiffany surrounds you. The tempest in which her temper raises.
Oh, they never harm me. Flowers and herbs are excellent tutors. I learn patience from the reed and bend until a storm has swept over me.
Admirable philosophy. But still, this frigid atmosphere of fashion must be uncongenial to you. Accustomed to your pleasant companionship from your kind friends in Geneva, surely you must regret this cold exchange.
Do you think so? Or can you possibly suppose that I prefer a ramble in the woods to a promenade in Broadway, a wreath of wildflowers to a bouquet of these sickly exotics, the odor of new-mown hay to the heated air of this conservatory? Or can you suppose that I prefer the quiet conversation of my Geneva friends over the edifying chit-chat of a fashionable drawing room? But I see you think me totally destitute of taste.
I believe you have a merry spirit to jest thus upon your grievances.
I have my mania, as some wise person says all mankind have, and mine is a love of independence. In Geneva, my wants were supplied by 2 kind old maiden ladies. I had abilities, and I desired to use them. I came here at my own request, for here I am no longer dependent. Voilà tout, as Mrs. Tiffany would say.
Believe me, I appreciate the confidence you repose in me.
Confidence? Truly, Colonel Howard, the confidence is entirely on your part in supposing I confide that which I have no reason to conceal. But I believe I told you that Mrs. Tiffany only expects visitors on her reception day. Therefore, she is not prepared to see you. The butler made a mistake in admitting you.
Nay, Gertrude. It was not Miss Tiffany nor Mrs. Tiffany who I came to see. It was...
Conservatory, perhaps. I will leave you to examine the flowers at leisure.
Gertrude, if I only dared to give utterance to what is hovering upon my lips. Gertrude!
Colonel Howard!
Gertrude, I must...
Indeed you must. Leave me. I think I hear somebody coming. Mrs. Tiffany would not be well pleased to find you here. Pray, leave me. That door will lead you out onto the street. What a strange being is man. Why should he hesitate to say... Nay, Why should I prevent him saying that which I would most delight to hear?
There she is. And a daughter out of earshot. Just the opportunity I've been looking for. Now for an engagement, captivating little piece of jewelry. On honor, I am almost afraid she will not resist the Count long enough to give value to the present. Ma belle petite, were you gathering roses for me?
The roses here, sir, are carefully guarded with thorns if you have the right to gather. Pluck for yourself.
Stop, little Gertrude. But now that we are alone, throw off this frigidity at your ease.
Permit me to be alone, sir, that I may be at my ease.
Oh, very good, my belle. Well said. Never yield too soon, even to a title. But, as the old girl might find her way back before long, let us come to particulars at once. I am enamored of you. Before long, I shall make Mademoiselle Seraphina my wife, and of course, you shall remain in the family.
Sir,
Upon my honor, you shall. In France, we arrange these little matters without difficulty.
But I am an American, and your conduct proves that you are not one.
Don't run away, my immaculate petite American. Damn, you've quite overlooked my condescension. The difference of our stations. You, a species of upper servant, an orphan, no friends.
And therefore more entitled to the respect and protection of every true gentleman. Had you been one, you would not have insulted me.
Oh, my charming little orator. Patriotism and declamation become you particularly. I feel quite tempted. Taste.
American hickory switch? Well, how'd you like it?
Sir, how dare you?
My stick has answered that question.
Oh, now I am quite safe.
All women would be safe if they knew how to wield such a weapon. As for you, Mr. Count, what do you have to say for yourself?
Sir, you don't understand these matters.
That's a fact. Not having had your experience, I don't believe I do understand them.
A piece of pleasantry, a mere joke.
A joke? Oh, I'll show you a joke worth two of that. I'll teach you how we joke with a puppy that doesn't know how to respect a woman.
Oh, what is the matter? I am perfectly surmontée with terror, Mr. Truman. What has happened?
Oh, we have been joking.
Oh, my dear Count, I did not expect to find you here. How kind of you.
Your dear Mr. Count has been showing his kindness in a rather foreign manner. Too foreign, I think. What do you think of a puppy that insults an innocent girl? This Count of yours, this importation
My dear
of...
madam, permit me to explain. It would be unbecoming, particularly unbecoming of you to pay any attention to this ignorant person. Anything that he says concerning a man of my standing, the truth is, madam,
Let us have the truth, if it is only for the novelty's sake.
You see, hoping to obtain a few moments in private conversation with Miss Seraphina, and knowing her passion for flowers, I found my way to your very impressionnant conservatory. Does you great credit, madam. Here I encountered this young person. She was inclined to be talkative, and so I indulged her in a few common phrases, and what passed between us was mere harmless badinage on my part. You, madam, so conversant with our European manners, you are aware when...
Oh, I comprehend you parfaitement, my dear Count. I am shocked at the plebeian forwardness of this conceited girl.
Count, puppy, do you ever keep a reckoning of all the lies you tell in an hour?
It is a man of rank whom you are addressing, sir.
A rank villain, Mrs. Anthony Tiffany. A rich one he would be if he had as much gold as he has brass.
Pray, pardon him, Count. He knows nothing of etiquette.
Sir, sight of him discomposes me. I feel quite uncomfortable. Madam, let us join your charming daughter. I can't do you the honor to shoot you, sir. You are beneath me. A nobleman can't fight a commoner. Goodbye, old Truepenny. I am insensible to your insolence.
You won't be insensible to a cowhide in spite of your nobility. The next time he practices any of his foreign fashions on you, Gertrude, you'll see how I'll wake up his sensibilities.
Should not know what I would have done without you, sir.
Yes, you do. You know you would have done well enough. Never tell a lie, girl, not even for the sake of an old man. When you open your lips, let your heart speak. Gertrude, I hear that you have no mother.
Oh, no, sir. I wish I had.
So do I. Heaven knows, so do I. And you have no father, Gertrude.
No, sir. I often wish I had.
Don't do that, girl. Don't do that. Wish that you had a mother, but never wish that you had a father again. Perhaps the one you had did not deserve such a child.
Seraphina's looking for you, Gertrude.
I will go to her. Mr. Truman, you have my gratitude.
Falsehood harbors there. I'll give up searching after the truth.
What a nice man he is, to be sure. I wish he would say something. Don't mind me, Mr. Truman.
Mind you? Oh, no, I wasn't minding you. No one seems to mind you much.
Very pretty flowers, ain't they? Gertrude takes care of them.
Gertrude, I suppose that you can tell me now who this Gertrude is.
Who she's in love with? I knew you were going to say that. Gertrude, she's in love with Mr. Twinkle, and he's in love with her. And Seraphina, she's in love with Count Jolly, but Count Jolly don't take to her at all. But Colonel Howard, he's desperate about her.
Why, you feminine newspaper. Howard, in love with that quintessence of affectation? Howard, the only straightforward, honest fellow that I've met here? And Gertrude, hunting for happiness in a rhyming dictionary. The girl's a greater fool than I took her for.
So she is. You see, I know all about them.
I see you do. You've a wonderful knowledge of other people's concerns. It made you here, but from where I come from, you get the name of a great busybody. But perhaps you know that too.
Oh, I always know what's coming. I feel it beforehand all over me. I knew something was going to happen the day you came here. And what's more, I can always tell a married man from a single. I felt right off that you were a bachelor.
Then you felt wrong. A widower and a bachelor are not the same thing.
But a widower is as good as a bachelor any day. And besides, I knew that you were a farmer right off. For my part, I like farmers, and I know all about setting turkeys, feeding chickens, laying eggs, and all that sort of thing, you know.
May I be shot if Mistress Newspaper isn't putting in an advertisement for herself. I can't say I do know any such thing, you know.
I've been south a little, but I never was in the county of Scranton myself.
And you've taken a particular fancy to go there, eh?
Well, perhaps I shouldn't object.
Now, pay attention to what I'm going to say, for it is a matter of great importance to yourself.
Now it's coming. I know what he's going to say.
The next time you want to tie a man to life to your apron strings, pick one that don't come from northern Pennsylvania, for greenhorns are scarce in those parts, and women aplenty.
Now, who'd have thought he was going to say that? But I won't give him up.
Reserve your energy, Prudence. That man, mine, is elsewhere. He is highly unlikely to put out an ad in the feminine newspaper. Well, let us return to the Tiffany's residence. What is that I hear?
More bills? More spending?
Sounds like a disagreement.
This extravagance will ruin us, Mrs. Tiffany.
Your stinginess will ruin us, Mr. Tiffany. There is a certain display which every woman of fashion is forced to make.
It was for fashion's sake that we bought this expensive house. It was for fashion's sake that you ran me in debt at every extravagant furniture warehouse in the city.
What was the occasion of these very malapropos remarks, Mr. Tiffany? Merely because I requested a paltry $50 for a new style of French headdress?
Well, time was, Mrs. Tiffany, when you manufactured your own French headdresses.
Mr. Tiffany, nothing is more positively vulgar, more uncapitalistic than any allusion to the past. Forget what we have been and embrace what we can be.
My dear, I thought that capitalists lived principally upon the past and traded in the market of fashion with the bones of our ancestors for capital.
Mr. Tiffany, I desire that you read the science of etiquette and learn how to conduct yourself, especially before I give the grand ball, which will be on Friday.
Oh, confound your balls, madam. They make footballs of our money while you dance away all that we are worth. A pretty time to give a ball when you know that we are on the very brink of bankruptcy.
So much the greater reason that nobody should suspect your circumstances, or you would lose your credit at once. Just at this crisis, a ball is absolutely necessary to save your reputation. I'm sure I've done all I could to gratify you. There is that vulgar old torment Truman. Haven't I been civil to him?
So civil to his wealth, Mrs. Tiffany. I told you that he was a rich old farmer, the friend of my brother, my own benefactor, and I had reason to think he might assist us in our present embarrassments. Your civility was bought, and like most of your own purchases, have yet to be paid for.
And will be, no doubt. Mr. Truman is insupportably indecorous. He has insulted Count Charlemagne in the most outrageous manner. If the Count was not so deeply interested with Serafina, so enthusiastic, I'm sure he would never visit us with his presence again.
Well, so much the better. He shall never marry my daughter. I'm resolved on that.
Count Charlemagne, the friend with all the dukes and lords of Europe, not marry my daughter, not permit Serafina to become a countess. Mr. Tiffany, you are absolutely out of your senses.
Well, that will not be very surprising, my dear, considering how many years I've been united to you. Modern physicians pronounce lunacy to be infectious.
Oh, Mr. Tiffany, he is the most fashionable man in
Fashion makes fools, but cannot feed them. By the by, I have a request. Since you are bent upon ruining us with this ball and there is no help for it, I desire that you will send an invitation to my confidential clerk, Mr. Snobson.
Mr. Snobson would cut a pretty penny amongst my fashionable friends. I shall do no such thing.
Then, madam, the ball shall not take place. Have I not told you that I am in the power of this man? That there are circumstances which you do not know, which you cannot comprehend, but which render it essential that you are civil to Mr. Snobson. Not you merely, but Serafina also. He is a more appropriate match for her than your courting count.
A match for Serafina? Indeed. Mr. Tiffany, you are trying to make a faux pas.
Mr. Snobson intends calling this morning.
How do you do, Marm? How are you, Mr. Tiffany, sir? You're most excellent, sir.
Bonjour. Comment vas-tu, Monsieur Snobson?
Oh, to be sure. Very good of you. Fine day.
Asseyez-vous, s'il vous plaît, Monsieur Snobson.
I wonder what she's driving at. I'm not up to the fashionable lingo yet. What? Speak a little louder, Marm.
Be an ignorant.
I presume Mrs. Tiffany means that you are to take a seat.
Oh, how obliging of her, so I shall. No ceremony amongst friends, and likely to be nearer, you understand. How is Serafina?
Miss Tiffany is not visible this morning.
Not visible. I suppose that's the English for can't see her. Mr. Tiffany, sir, what am I to make by this defalcation? Sir, I expected your word to be as good as your bond. Beg pardon, sir, I mean better. Sir.
Oh, have patience, Mr. Snobson. Gertrude, desire that my daughter come here.
Yes, sir.
I brought the old boy to his bearings, didn't I, though? Pull that string and he is sure to work right. You needn't make any stranger of me, Mark. If you've got any odd jobs about the house to do up, I shan't miss you. I'll amuse myself with Seraphina when she comes. We'll get along quite cozily by ourselves.
Permit me to inform you, Mr. Snobson, that a French mother never leaves her daughter with a young man. She knows your sex too well for that.
How disobliging of her, but as we're none French, I shan't imagine that.
You have yet to learn, Mr. Snobson, that the American elite, the aristocracy, scrupulously follow French fashions.
Not when they are foreign to their interests, Mom. For instance, your husband. Right here, I have it. Ah, there you are at last, Miss Tiffany? Marm said you weren't visible, but you managed to get a peep at her, Mr. Tiffany?
I heard you were here, Mr. Snobson, and came without even arranging myself. You will excuse my negligence?
Oh, of everything but me, miss.
Well, I shall never have to ask your pardon for that, Mr. Snobson.
Seraphina, child, really?
Walk this way, madam, if you please.
I don't think you...
To see that she fancies this surly fellow took the weight off my heart.
But Mr. Tiffany, it is not all appropriate to leave a young girl with such a mess.
The Count is here.
Oh, good gracious, the Count. Oh, dear. Seraphina, run and change your dress. Oh, no, there's no time. Mr. Snobson, get out of the way, will you? Mr. Tiffany, what are you doing at home at this hour anyway? Oh, my dear Count, I am overjoyed at the very sight of you, Count.
Well, myself, you'd be glad to see me, madam. No, it was not your jeu de reception.
But for you, Count, all days. You are welcome all days, Count.
On my honor, Miss Tiffany, you're looking beautiful.
Oh, Count, flattery from you.
What's that you say, miss?
Oh, nothing but what etiquette requires, Mr. Snobson.
Your worthy papa, I believe, sir. You're most obedient.
I hope that we will have the pleasure of seeing you Friday evening, Count.
Really, madam? My engagements so numerous, and you Americans take offense so easily.
But Count, everyone expects you at our ball. You are the principal attraction.
Count, you must come.
Since you insist, Miss Tiffany.
Oh, I am so thankful. How can I pay your condescension? Mr. Snelson, will you walk this way? I have such a cactus in full bloom. A remarkable flower, really. Mr. Tiffany, pray, come here. I have something particular to say.
Then speak out, my dear. I thought it was highly improper just now to leave a girl with a young man.
Oh, but the Count, that is different.
Ah, I suppose you mean to say there's nothing of the man about him.
I thought I heard the Count arrive. Madame, I have brought this scarf for Mademoiselle.
Oh, very well, Milinette. You know what is best for her to wear.
Mademoiselle, permettez-moi, perfide, if Madame will stand tranquille for un moment. Monsieur Count, I must speak with you today, or I tell all. You meet me in my chamber before you leave. Prends garde.
What is that you say, Milinette?
Oh, the scarf make Mademoiselle look very beautiful. Je vous salue.
Not a moment to lose. My charming Miss Tiffany, I have just received a letter from my friend, the Earl of Ayrshire, and the truth is, beg you won't mention it. The Earl's daughter has distinguished me by a tender penchant.
Oh, I understand. And they wish you to return and marry the young lady. Oh, but surely you will not leave us, Count.
If you bid me stay, I shouldn't have the conscience. I couldn't afford to tear myself away. I'm sure that's honest.
Oh, Count.
Say but one word. Say that you shouldn't mind being made a countess, and I'll break with the Earl tomorrow.
Well, Count, this surprise. But don't think of leaving the country. Yes, Count, I do consent.
I thought she would. Enchanted rapture, bliss, ecstasy, and all that sort of thing. It must be kept a secret. If the rumor of our engagements were to be whispered abroad, the Earl's daughter, the delicacy of my situation, you comprehend. It is even possible that our nuptials, my charming Miss Tiffany, our nuptials must take place in private.
Oh, that is quite impossible.
It's the latest fashion abroad, the very latest. Oh, I knew that would determine you. Can I depend on your secrecy?
Oh, yes, believe me.
Why, Serafina, haven't you a word to throw to a dog?
I suppose she hadn't, after wasting so many upon a hound.
Madam, the new carriage has arrived.
Oh, very well, Millinette. My hat. Ah, Count, my daughter and I are about to take an airing in our new voiture. Will you honor us with your company?
Madam, I have the most pressing engagement, a letter to write to the Earl of Ayrshire, who is at present residing in the Isle of Skye. I must bid you good morning.
Oh, good morning, Count.
Good morning, Count.
I'm quite at leisure, Marm. I've got my books balanced, my ledgers are closed. I've got nothing to do. Well,
Serafina, come.
but Marm, I was saying, Marm, I'm quite at leisure. Isn't that right, Mr. Tiffany?
Serafina, let us be off, child. Oh, Mr. Snobson. Bonsoir.
Swear. Mr. Tiffany, sir, am I to be fobbed off with a bonsoir? Damn it, I will swear.
Oh, have patience, Mr. Snobson. If you will only accompany me to the counting house, we will get all this.
Don't count too much on me, sir. I'll be making up no more accounts until these are settled. I'll run down and jump into that carriage myself in spite of her bonsoir.
Mr. Snobson! Mr. Snobson!
Snobson remains demanding, and the Count surreptitiously proposed to Serafina. Deeper layers revealed, threads to follow, relationships surfaced. Let us continue. As prearranged, Millinette receives the Count, and their rendezvous takes place in her chambers.
I have set the butler to watch for him. He promised to come so soon as Madame's voiture drove from the door. If he does not come, but he will. He must.
Ah, Millinette, my dear.
Tramper! For what you leave London? Why you leave me? And I love you so much. When you were sick, you almost died. Did I not take care of you? Did I not stay by you?
Never allude to disagreeable subjects, mon enfant. I was forced by uncontrollable circumstances to fly back to the land of liberty.
What did you do with the money that I gave you? The last sou that I had, did I not give you?
I dare say you did, my petite. Don't ask any questions now. I can't explain.
But when? You will not deceive me. Not anymore.
Deceive you? Never.
I will tell you when we shall meet. This Friday, Madame give one grand ball. You will come, sans due. When the supper is served, you steal away. You find me here in my chamber, and you will give me one grand explanation.
Friday night, while supper is serving, parole d'honneur, I will be here. I will explain everything, my countship, everything. Now let me go. If any of the family should discover us,
They might discover more than you think it is advisable for them to know.
Vous êtes Gertrude? Mon Dieu!
My charming Gertrude, let me explain. Nothing is more natural than the situation in which you find me.
I am inclined to believe that, sir.
Upon my honor, that's not fair. Here is Millinette will bear witness to what I'm about to say.
Oh, I have not the slightest doubt of that, sir.
You see, Millinette happened to be lady's maid in the family of the Duchess of Abercorn, and I chanced to be a particular friend of the Duchess. Very particular, I assure you. Of course, I saw Millinette, and she saw me. Millinette.
Oh, oui, madame. I saw quite a lot of him.
Well, it is a remarkable fact that being in correspondence with this very Duchess at this very time,
That is sufficient, sir. I am already so well acquainted with your extraordinary talent for improvisation.
Mademoiselle Gertrude, do not betray us. Have pity.
Millinette, my word has been doubted. The word of a nobleman. I shall inform my friend, Mrs. Tiffany, of this young person's audacity.
His own weapons alone can foil this villain. Oh, Count! Perhaps the least said about this matter, the better.
Coming around, couldn't resist me. Charming.
What? What is that you say?
My sweet, horrible Millinette, hold your tongue with me.
I will not. If you do, so look at her from out your eyes one more time. I will tell all.
I could never manage 2 women at once. Jealousy makes me a creature so spiteful. The only valor. Gertrude, I must be good morning. Millinette.
But I have one more word to say to you. Stop! Stop!
Friday night, while supper is serving, he is to meet Millinette here and explain what? This man is an imposter. His insulting me, his familiarity with Millinette, his whole conduct prove it. If I tell Mrs. Tiffany this, she will disbelieve me, and one word may set that so-called Count on his guard. To convince Seraphina may be equally as difficult, and her rashness and infatuation may render her miserable for life, and me a governess in the Count's household. No, we shall be saved. I will devise a plan to open their eyes. Surely, a woman can fashion a means, especially to punish a villain or to save a friend.
At least someone sees through his facade. Fashion away, Gertrude. Refashion your way. We will move ahead to the night of the ball. Gertrude. And at the ball, the following is revealed.
Tomorrow, I may salute you as my bride, my countess.
Yes, tomorrow.
Seraphina!
You said you'd dance with me, miss. Now take my fin and we'll walk about and see what's going on.
What a nap I've had, to be sure. Oh, 11 o'clock as I'm alive, and the grand turnout has hardly begun.
Mr. Truman!
Mr. Truman.
I'm in such a fidget, lest that old fellow should disgrace us by some of his plebeian remarks. What it is to give a ball when one is forced in by general dance.
Miss Tiffany.
Mr. Truman, you are very late. Quite in fashion, I declare.
Fashion. And pray, what is fashion, madam? An agreement between certain persons to substitute etiquette for virtue, decorum for purity, manners for morals.
You have some of the most outrageous ideas, Mr. Truman. Quite rustic and deplorably country. But pray, walk this way.
Like dancing on Fridays, something strange is always sure to happen. I'll be on the lookout.
They're preparing the supper. Now, if I can but dispose of Milinette and unmask this count, the insolent pretender.
What's that she said? It's coming.
Excuse me, madam. I believe this is the hour at which you have ordered supper.
Well, what is that to you?
Well, I have heard at all the most elegant balls in Paris, a servant stationed at the door presents a bouquet to every lady as she passes. I prepared a basket a short while ago. As the company walk into the supper room, might not the flowers be distributed to advantage?
Ooh, how distinguished. You are a good creature, Gertrude. There, run and call Milinette and give her the basket.
Madam, pray order Milinette not to move from her station outside of the door until supper is ended. As the company pass out of the room, she may find that some of the ladies have been overlooked.
That is true. Very thoughtful of you, Gertrude. Oh, how chic. Milinette, where is she? Milinette, take that basket and place yourself there and distribute the bouquets as the company passes into supper. But remember not to stir from that spot until supper is over.
Dieu, this will ruin all. Madame, in France, it is the custom to present les bouquets when the guests first arrive, long before supper. To do it now would be outre, barbare, not at all la mode. When they first come in, that is the custom.
Milinette, I'd have you know that Americans always improve upon European fashions. So here, take the basket and let me see that you do it in the most unique and genteel manner.
Psst, Gertrude. You might want to enlist from our community of observers.
Please, you there, do me this favor. Go into the supper room and whisper to the Count that all is ready and he must make his appointment without delay.
What can she want of the Count? I always suspected that, Gertrude, because she is so merry and busy. Mr. Truman thinks so much of her, too. I'll tell him this. There's something wrong, but it all comes of giving a ball on a Friday. How astonished dear old Truman will be when he finds out how much I know.
Psst. The Count is coming.
Remember to keep watch outside of the door. Do not move from your spot outside of Milinette's room. When I call you, come in quickly with a light. Now, will you be gone? I think I hear the Count's steps. Now, if I can just disguise my voice and make the best of French.
Milinette, where are you? How am I to see you in the dark?
Hush, parlez bas.
Come here, my little croissant, and give me a kiss.
No. Make haste. I must know all.
You did not used to be so deuced particular.
Come over here. I know they went this way.
What shall I do? Ruined?
Uh-oh. They're coming here. Milinette, why don't you speak? Where can I hide myself? Where are all your closets? If only I could get out or get in somewhere. Fortune's favorite yet. I'm safe.
Here they are, the Count and Gertrude. I told you so.
And see what a lie you told.
Oh, Prudence, how dare you create this disturbance in my house? And to suspect the Count too, a nobleman.
Sweet Gertrude, this foolish old
Oh,
woman
you
would say,
needn't talk. I heard Gertrude make the appointment. I know the Count's here, or he's been here. I wonder if she hasn't hid him away.
You're what I call a confounded, troublesome, meddling, prying church bell.
I told you so.
Thunder and lightning.
You brave little minx!
Gertrude, no, this must be some horrid mistake. The villain. I'll hunt the truth out of him if there is any. Count Hume first made acquaintance with my stick a few days ago. I think it's time you were better known to each other.
Madam, keep off that old ruffian and I will explain. You, madam, so conversant with our European manners, you are...
Oh, Count! I hope it ain't a French custom for the nobility to shut themselves up in the dark with such young women. We think such things dreadful in America.
Damn, hear what I have to say, madam. I am perfectly innocent in this affair. Upon my honor, I am. That young lady shall inform you that I am so herself. Madam, I was summoned here, malgrimoire, and not knowing who I was to meet.
Count you well know who you were on your way to.
Did you summon him here, Gertrude?
I did, but he was on his way.
Here, madam.
I won't believe it. I can't.
This is Tiffany. Mr. Truman, you'll but have patience. I can explain.
Patience! You have taken from an old man something better and dearer than his patience. The one bright hope of 25 years of self-denial.
Gertrude, get out of my house, you low, out of shame. You ruined. You will corrupt all of my family. Never let me see your face after tomorrow. Pack.
Gertrude, I have striven to find some excuse to doubt, to disbelieve, but this is beyond all endurance.
I could not come before! Mon Dieu, what does this mean?
Hold your tongue, fool. You will ruin everything. I will explain tomorrow. Madam, my dear madam, let me conduct you back to the ballroom. You see, I'm quite innocent in this affair. You understand. Oh, you comprehend the whole affair.
I will speak with this Count tomorrow.
Mr. Truman, I beseech you. I insist upon being heard. I claim it as a right.
Right? How dare you have the face, girl, to talk of rights? You had more rights than you thought for, but you have forfeited them all. All right to love, respect, protection, and not a little else that you don't dream of. Go. Go! I'll leave for Scranton tomorrow. I've seen enough of what this fashion can do.
Dear man, how he takes on. I'll go and console him.
This is too much. How heavy a penalty have my exploits cost me? The Colonel's esteem, my home, my... Is that music? They are dancing. I should be weeping, if pride had not sealed up all my tears.
In order to create coexistence, one must first hone the acts of listening, seeing, and considering from another's point of view. When we began this play, we were in search of that true transcendence and reclamation. Now that we near the end of the play, reconsider what led to this moment. The next morning, Gertrude attempts to reproduce her version of last night's events from Mrs. Tiffany's drawing room desk.
How shall I write to them? What shall I say? How can they comprehend the motives for my actions? I have no time to lose. I must prepare them for my return. What a true pleasure there is in daring to be frank. Not so frank either. There's one name I cannot write. That they should suspect, should despise me.
There she is. If only this girl's soul had been as fair as her face. Yet she dared to speak the truth. I'll not forget that. A woman who refuses to tell a lie has one spark of heaven in her still. Gertrude, what are you doing there? Plotting more mischief, eh, girl?
I was writing a few lines to some friends in Geneva.
The Wilson sisters.
Are you acquainted with them, sir?
I shouldn't suppose I was. I suppose you have taken great care not to mention the foreign puppy in the closet, the dark room, that sort of thing.
I have no reason for concealment, sir, for I have done nothing of which I am ashamed.
Then I can't say much for your modesty.
I wouldn't want you to say more than I deserve.
There's a bold minx.
Since my affairs seem to have excited your interests, I will not say curiosity. Perhaps you feel a desire to inspect my correspondence.
So I will. What's this? Thunder and lightning. I see it all.
Then you do me justice, Mr. Truman?
I say I won't. You're above all dependence upon justice. I have found one true woman at last. True. Didn't think of the flaw in that. Plotting and maneuvering, not much truth in that. An honest girl should be above stratagems.
What other actions could I have taken, sir? My motive was good.
That's not enough. Your actions must be good as well as your motives.
The plan was an imprudent one, but I could not devise it.
I hate devising. Give me a woman with a firmness to be frank.
And give me a man with the ability to listen without jumping to conclusions.
Oh, where's your dear Mr. Twinkle? I know all about it. Can't say I appreciate your choice in a husband, but there's no accounting for a girl's taste.
Mr. Twinkle? Indeed, sir, you are quite mistaken.
No, really? Then you're not taken with him?
Not even with his rhymes.
Hang that old mother meadow much prudence. What a fool she has made of me. So then you're free, quite free, and I may choose a husband for you myself? Heart whole, eh?
I trust there is nothing unsound about my heart.
I tell you, an invasion is a lie in contemplation. Out with the truth, is your heart free or not?
Nay, sir, since you demand an answer, permit me to demand by what right you ask this question. Colonel Howard.
Gertrude, I've come to bid you farewell. Tomorrow I'll resign my commission and leave this city. I wanted to say goodbye, even after last evening.
What the plague have you got to say about last evening?
Mr. Truman.
What do you have to say to this girl at all? It's Tiffany's precious daughter that you're in love with.
Miss Tiffany? Never.
That lying old newspaper. I see how it is. So then if you don't choose to marry Serafina, whom do you choose to marry?
I shall not marry at all.
You won't? You don't mean to say that you don't like Gertrude?
Mr. Truman, it may have been wrong to boast of my good nature, but do not presume too far upon it.
You like frankness, Mr. Truman, so therefore I will speak plainly. I've long cherished a dream for which I was rudely awakened last night.
And you call that speaking plainly? Well, I differ with you, but I can guess at what you mean. Last night you suspected Gertrude there of what no man shall ever suspect her of again. You did her an injustice. It was a mistake. There, now the matter's settled. Go and ask her to forgive you.
First you accuse me, and now you are my defender?
I think you forget to whom you dictate, Mr. Truman.
You won't ask her pardon?
I shall not. not at any man's bidding. I'm not a man to brook an insult, but will not quarrel in the presence of the lady.
Won't we? I don't know that.
Pray, Colonel Howard, desist. Mr. Truman, for my sake. Colonel Howard, if you will read this letter, it will explain everything.
You don't deserve an explanation. Didn't I tell him it was a mistake? Refuse to beg your pardon. I'll teach him.
You were no better a few moments ago.
Gertrude, how I wronged you.
Oh, you'll beg her pardon now.
Gertrude, I fear that I've been...
You needn't. She'll forgive you. You don't know these women as well as I do.
Enough moral proselytizing, Mr. Truman. You need lessons in listening. Let us continue for results and perhaps revisions.
Nothing is more plebeian, more ungenteel than fretting over one's bills.
These bills will be our ruin. Now listen, as soon as our daughter marries...
Oh dear, what shall we do? Such a misfortune, such a disaster. Oh dear, oh dear.
Prudence, what is the matter?
Well, such a disgrace to the whole family, but I always expected it. Oh dear, oh dear.
Prudence, will you tell me what has happened?
I can't. You'll feel so dreadfully. How could she do such a thing? But I expected nothing else. From the moment you adopted her, expected nothing else.
Good gracious, I shall get into a passion. What has happened?
Oh, Betsy, that your daughter should have come to that. Dear me, dear me.
Seraphina, what has she done?
What has happened to her?
Oh, something dreadful, shocking.
Speak quickly, plainly. You torture me by this delay. Prudence, be calm, speak.
The butler just told me he carried her traveling trunk himself. She gave him this note to give to you.
Her trunk? What does she want with her trunk, Prudence?
Seraphina's gone.
Gone? Where?
Off, eloped with the Count. Dear me, I always told you she would.
She did what now?
Then we are ruined.
A ridiculous girl! Oh, and she might have had such a splendid wedding. Oh, what could have possessed her?
Who the devil himself possessed her, for she has ruined us past all redemption. Prudence, are you sure they are gone?
Didn't I tell you so? Just look at this note.
Let me see it. My dear Ma, when you receive this, I shall be a countess. The Count and I were forced to be married privately for reasons which I will explain in my next. You must pacify Pa and put him in a good humor before I come back. Though now I'm to be a countess, I suppose I shouldn't care. Undutiful hussy. We are going to make a little excursion and we'll be back in a week. Your dutiful daughter, Seraphina. Well, a man's curse is sure to spring up at his own hearth.
Oh, why, Mr. Tiffany? How you do take on? And I dare say to elope was the most fashionable way after all.
Where are all the folks? Here, Antony, you're the man I want. Why, what's the matter?
Oh, Mr. Truman, such intrusions are highly improper. What would my daughter, the Countess, say?
Countess? Oh, madam.
Yes, my daughter Seraphina, the Countess de Jalametry. Oh, no wonder you are surprised after your bourgeois conduct. I have told you already, Miss Gertrude, that you were not a proper person to have the inestimable advantages of my patronage. You are reject. Do you understand? Discharged.
Have you done? Very well, it's my turn now. Antony, perhaps what I have to say don't concern you as much as some others, but I want you to listen to me. Antony, you remember a blue-eyed, smiling girl?
Yes, your daughter, sir. I remember her well.
I never saw her to forget her. 30 years ago, I found myself the richest farmer in Scranton, Pennsylvania. This cursed wealth made my girl an object of speculation. Every idle fellow that wanted to feather his nest was sure to come courting Ruth. There was one. My heart misgave me the instant I laid eyes upon him, for he was a city chap and not over fond of the truth. But Ruth, she was too pure herself to look for guile. His fine words and his fair looks, she was taken with him. I said no, but she liked her own way better than her old father's. Girls always do. And then one morning, the rascal robbed me, not of my money, but of the only treasure I cherished, my daughter.
But you forgave her?
I did. The scoundrel thought he was marrying my gold along with my daughter. He was mistaken. I took care that they should never want, but that was all. She loved him. He broke her heart. A year after they were married, he forsook her. She came back to her old home, her old father. She pined, and then she died.
Oh, a heavy loss.
So heavy that I should not have cared how soon after I followed. But for the child she left, I swore that my unlucky wealth should never curse that child as it had cursed its mother. It was all I had left to love, but I sent it away. The girl was brought up tenderly but humbly by my wife's relatives in Geneva. There she was taught true independence, capacities, and to use them. Money should never buy her a husband, for I swore that I would not claim her until she had found the man that loved her for herself. She turned out a rare girl. I think it's time for her old grandfather to claim her, and here he is to do it. And there stands Ruth's child, Gertrude, my child.
Oh, that explains such odd behavior.
But I knew it. I always said Gertrude would turn out somebody after all.
Oh, Gertrude, an heiress. Well, my dear, we're going to have to throw you a ball, via spell. I always thought you were a good creature. I'll bring her into society myself.
I'm too bewildered to even wish her joy. The gulf between us is wider than ever.
Not too wide, Colonel. Build that bridge.
I swore I would never claim her until she found the one that loved her for herself. I think I found that man. Gertrude's yours.
With all due respect, sir, I believe she had already found me. Gertrude, will you have my hand?
Like my grandfather, I rejoice in speaking true, and truly, Colonel Howard, I love you. Yes, now I can rejoice in having found a grandparent and a true love.
All the single folks are getting married.
No, they are not. You and I are single folks, and we're not likely to be getting married.
My dear Mr. Truman, oh, my sweet, sweet Gertrude. When my daughter, the Countess, returns, she will be delighted to hear of this denouement.
The Countess? Madam, pray, where is Seraphina?
The Countess de Jalametre, my dear, is at this moment on her way to Paris.
I hope you are only jesting, madam.
Excusez-moi, my dear. My daughter had this morning the honor of being united to the Count de Jalametre.
But he is an impostor.
Good gracious, Gertrude. How can you talk in that disrespectful way of a man of rank? An heiress, my dear, should have better manners. The Count...
No, madam, that monster, he break my heart. I will tell all.
Milanette, what is the matter?
He promised to marry me, and I love him so much. But now the butler say he has run away with Mademoiselle Serafina.
Oh, what insolence! This girl is gone mad. Count Jolimetre with my chambermaid?
He is not one, Count. Not at all. That is just a title he goes by now. His name is Peter Goss Treadmill, and he is from New Jersey.
Peter Gus Treadmill from Jersey?
He is not one Frenchman at all, though he did live one long time in London and Paris. First he lived with Monsieur Vermicelli, there he was the cook. Then he lived with Monsieur Ernest, the barber, and then he lived with Monsieur le Count Fripenfond, and there he was the Count's valet. There, now that I tell all, I feel one great deal better.
Not a count, but one can see the special look on his face. Don't you think I can tell a count when I see one? I say he is a count.
I won't stand it. I say I won't.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Mr. Snobson.
Keep off. I'm a hard customer to get the better of, and you'll see if I don't come out strong.
Where are your manners, man?
Oh, my business ain't with you, old man Scranton. That extra mint julep has put the true pluck in me. Now, Mr. Tiffany, sir, I'd like to know, sir, how you came to assist your daughter in running away with that foreign loafer. It was a downright swindle, sir. And after the conversation that I and you had on the subject that she wasn't your property, sir.
What? Anthony, is this the way that your city clerk bullies his boss?
Oh, you're drunk, Scranton. Don't expose yourself. I've taken a little too much julep, my old boy. Be quiet, you're arf enough. Now, Mr. Tiffany, sir, you have broken your word as no virtuous individual, no honorable member of the community.
Have some pity, Mr. Snobson, I beseech you. I had nothing to do with my daughter's elopement. I shall agree to anything you desire. Your salary shall be doubled, nay, trebled.
Oh, no, you don't know bribery and corruption.
I implore you to be silent. You shall become partner of the concern, if you please, only do not speak. You are not yourself at this moment.
Oh, ain't I though? I feel twice myself. I feel like two Snobsons rolled into one and chock full of the spunk of a dozen. Now, Mr. Tiffany, sir, I demand.
Why do you stand there disputing with this drunken jackass? Where's your butler? Have him kick the critter out.
Oh, you better be quiet, Scranton. This ain't your hash, so keep your spoon out of the dish.
Turn him out, Anthony.
Oh, he daren't do it. Ain't he in my power? Can't I knock him down with a word? Now he's got my steam up. I will do it.
Oh, no, Mrs. Snobson, my good friend.
Oh, steam's up.
You won't stand there long unless you mend your manners. You're not the first man I've upset because he didn't know his place.
Oh, I know where Tiff's place is, and that's in the state's prison. He's a forger, sir. He's been forging Dick Anderson's endorsements of his notes these last 10 months.
Oh, what?
He's got a couple in the bank that'll send him to the wall anyhow if he can't make a raise. Now you know what he's worth.
Oh, get out of my house, Mr. Snobson! You ugly little drunken brute! Mr. Truman, you've got to stick. Put him out! Oh, here is the Countess.
Are you married?
No, I'm not married quite yet.
Oh, thank heaven.
Why did you come back, dear?
Oh, the clergyman wasn't at home. I returned for my jewels. The Count said nobility couldn't go on without them.
We may be saved yet. Serafina, my child, you will not see us ruined. I have been a kind father to you, at least I have tried to be, although your mother's extravagance has made a madman of me. The Count is an imposter. You seem to like Mr. Snobson. Marry him. Save us. You! Mr. Truman, you will advance the sum which I require. I promise to. I pledge to return it. My wife, my child, who will support them where the thought alone makes me frantic. You had a child yourself.
I did not sell her. Shame on you, Antony, to put a price on your family.
Save me for my brother's sake.
Mr. Truman, or grandfather, I should say, save him. Do not embitter our happiness by allowing this calamity to fall upon another.
Enough, child. I did not need your voice. Let me settle these matters in my own
And
way.
who said we needed your voice to settle the matter? Let me hear from someone else, shall we?
No, where's the fire?
If I recall correctly, sir, you have been for some time aware of Mr. Tiffany's forgeries.
I don't know who you are, but you've hit the nail. Old chap saw that I was up to him 6 months ago, left off throwing dust into my eyes. But
he did.
He made no bones of forging Anderson's name at my elbow.
Forged at your elbow, you saw him do it?
I did.
Repeatedly.
Repeatedly.
Then you rattlesnake, if he takes up his quarters in the state's prison, you'll take up your quarters there too. You are an accessory, an accomplice.
The deuce? So I am. I never thought of that. I must make myself scarce. Tiff! I say Tiff! The drunken old rip has got us in his power. I say let's give him the slip and be off. They want men of genius in the West. We're sure to get on. You can set up for a writing master and teach copying signatures. And I'll give lectures on temperance. You won't come? No. Oh, then I'm off without you. Goodbye, Scranton. Which is the way to California?
There's a debt your city owes me. Now let's see what other nuisances we can abate. Antony, I'm not given to preaching. Therefore, I shall not say much on what you have done. Your face shows that the crime has brought the punishment along with it.
Indeed, it has, sir. In 1 year, I have lived a century of misery.
I believe you, and I will assist you upon one.
Oh, my good friend! My first ever kind friend. Only name it.
You must sell your house and all these gewgaws and bundle your wife and daughter off
Bundle them away.
There, let them learn economy, true independence, and home virtues, instead of these foreign follies. As for yourself, continue your business, but let moderation be your counselor and honesty your confidential clerk.
Oh, Mr. Truman, you have made existence once more precious to me. My wife and daughter shall quit the city tomorrow, and we'll go back to the country.
What can the same Serafina? We ought to be off.
There he is now! Peter! Mon cher Peter! Now that I have you, we shall never be parted again. Oh, don't frown, Peter. Don't frown.
Come forward, Mr. Count, and for the edification of fashionable society, confess that you are an impostor.
An imposter? Why, you abominable little...
Your lovely friend has told us all of it. The cook, the valet, all that sort of thing. Come, confess, and something may be done for you.
Well, then I do confess that I am no count, but really, ladies and gentlemen, I may commend myself as the most capital cook.
Oh, Ma!
Count up, Peter. Promise me to call upon the whole acquaintance of your fashionable friends, and I will set you in business tomorrow. Better to turn stomachs than turn heads.
But will you marry me?
Give us your hand, Millinette. Oh, I hope you will pardon my conduct, but I learned quickly in America that once you have something, that you truly have it, right? When you have your clothes, you have yourself.
Hold it right there, Peter Gus Treadmill. What exactly have you learned?
In America, fashion makes the basest coin current.
Where folks pay homage to titles while they profess to scorn them.
Where we have honest men, brave-hearted and true, and women gentle, fair, and kind, to whom no title could add nobility.
So it saddens me to see that you have learned nothing. Relationships rebuild, changes occurred. But who was listening? Who was learning? If you have not learned, you are likely to repeat. In penning the original play, Anna Cora Mowatt endeavored to write a simple and faithful narrative. This adaptation of refashion aspires to reassess, rebuild, and recreate that narrative for a contemporary audience. Review the past, revision the present for a more informed future. There is an ending here, but is it happy? Just as in life, you must recreate your own resolutions. So I ask you out there, have you been listening? Has this adaptation been received? Reflect and respond on what you have learned.